Shal, I don't know. There's something wrong with the intro. So I tried to get it to play and she was giving me guff. So hi everybody. How's it going? What's happening, everyone? What's crack-a-lacking? What's pop-locking?
What's going on? Sunshine, sparkles, rain, yeah. Hi, y'all.
Yes.
Missed y'all.
We missed you. Hold on, let me see if it'll work now. Well, I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, so we're here now. So we're here, we're queer, get used to
it. Hey peeps, what's going on? What's the haps? What's going on?
Yes.
What's
So
new?
yeah, it's been a lot. It has been an eventful 7 days, with Blackout and everything. So we blacked all the way out.
Literally and figuratively. Literally and figuratively.
We had ourselves a wonderful time. Hold on, let me put my phone on mute because this will be right when the girls want to call and chit chat and talk about bullshit.
So listen, I see a whole bunch of people have already tuned in already into the chat. So hey Greg, listen, hey Greg.
Wait a minute, so you can see people on the chat? I don't see anything.
Yeah, I see Greg, I see Lola, I see David, Eccentric, and what's going on?
Yeah, I don't see any of that.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on, let me you vamp. I'm gonna go off screen for a moment.
Okay.
But I'm gonna still be here.
All right. So we're going ahead and vamp. So listen, I do want you all to understand that while we're listen, we're gonna talk about a whole lot of stuff. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about, just a whole lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of haps that's been going on, a whole bunch of crap that has been good stuff that's happened, and a few surprises and that sort of thing. But again, it was a very, very, very eventful 7 days. Listen, I'm gonna just go ahead and go get started on what on my end and what we got going on. Listen, we have talked about, and as you can see from our last episode, we talked about the Virgin's Guide to, or your Blackout Guide for Virgins, if you will, however that was titled. Basically, all stuff you need to know when you go to Blackout and stuff you need to do. And so Dominion and I both went. We had a wonderful time, and I'm sure he's going to talk about some stuff for him, just like I'm going to talk about some stuff for me as well. But listen, I need to explain to you all that I've always lived by the philosophy of if it is difficult to put something on, then it usually doesn't mean it's supposed to be. Listen, I need y'all to hold on 1 second because for some strange reason, I have somebody knocking at my door for a second. Give me 1 second. This is really weird. I'm not expecting anybody, but hold on. Let's see what's going to go on. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all.
How you gonna be the only one on the show and then step off? Hello.
Because someone just knocked at my door and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And there's police cars and stuff outside. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I see the blue and red lights flashing. So give me a minute. Hold on, y'all.
Well, anyway, I'm back. For whatever reason, I needed to restart so that everything could go in. So I'm going to go in and give the auto start. And that's going to give you a minute and 19 seconds to get your life together.
Nope, my life is together at this particular point because I just figured out, I don't know why the lights are still going on outside, but that's a whole nother story. But someone literally just knocked on my door. And so I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is going on?
Baby, that's ICE. We know you here legally.
Listen. Anyway, I'm going back to, are you going to start the intro? Because I'm going to go back to what I was saying. I wasn't expecting
3, 2, 1.
Now we have the proper intro.
Now we had the intro. For whatever reason, I needed to restart my screen or the whole thing because I couldn't see any of the commentary on the left. Whatever, it was giving me guff. So, but back.
And I was, and then for me, the interruption was I'm not expecting anybody. Somebody knocked at my door. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I see these blue and red lights. That's why I got up. I can see them in the background, but whatever is on. Listen. My car's fine. There's no fire out there. Nobody's going, I don't know what the hell that is, but that was a delivery that I kind of actually just forgot about. But okay, fine. But it's the red and blue lights that really got me. So I apologize, you all. But what I was saying was, I am always of the mindset that if, when I have tried to, when things come easy for you, whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're trying to go somewhere, you're trying to buy something, you're trying to be something, you're trying to make something, when stuff happens easily, for me, it feels like it was meant to be. But when I have to work at something, like you constantly, getting a curveball, go to the left, to the right, to the up, to that, all these, then by the time I get finished going through all that crap, it usually doesn't mean, for me, it doesn't turn out that it's worth it. And I should have just left it alone. It was kind of like the universe warning me, like, but you don't really want to do this. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. That was not the case because I think probably within 48 hours, that was when I literally made that final decision to say I am booked, locked, and loaded, and I was going to do Blackout. And when I say everything lined up, I mean lined up. Like it was like just bing, 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 bing. Everything lined up between the flight, the hotel, between money, between like everything lined up perfect.
Well, knowing what we know now, you mean you was going to miss it?
Baby, let me explain something to you. One of our brothers, Links, actually posted something on Facebook one time just recently about missing events and all this other stuff. And he was saying how, listen, you don't have to go to every single event. The events will be there. Leather will be there. Your friends will be. It's not the event. It's the people that make the event. That's what makes it special. And so, yes, I was not going. I was not going to be there. I had not planned. And literally, because I did something that I didn't really pay attention to, like I had actually signed up for the hotel when that second notice came out and they were changing hotels. And so when I got that email that says, oh, we have a room for you, you can go ahead and get signed up, because originally I hadn't even made the reservations for the room or anything. When I got that email, it was like, oh, well, shit. All right, well, cool, come on. Granted, as the days went on, like my plane ticket lined up. Again, like everything just lined up. So I was like, there really is no reason. And I really the most amount of money I spent this weekend at one time was the $62 cab ride or Uber ride that I took back to the airport.
Mm.
It wound up being perfect. Like it just happened. So which made me very thankful and very grateful for just being in this space of take your time, think about it, make some decisions, and then figure out, what's going to work best for you. And so I did. So it just kind of happened that way. Now, did I have to slide some stuff around? Yeah, I changed the due date here and the due date there and push something back. Okay, that's fine. But those are manageable things. Those are things that I probably was going to do anyway, based on just just what your pay schedule is and all this other crap that you got going on and other things that are happening. But other than that, it wound up being perfect. And it was the chef's kiss for me because it was very much needed. I feel like, not that I was losing myself, but I just felt like I felt a little off, like something just seemed a little off. Everybody has those moments in their seasons where things are just a little off and you're doing things differently. And that just seems to be the case for me. And I've been going through a couple of other things. I just talked about some stuff briefly, and I'll share some stuff later on. But at this particular point, everything is all good. I was happy I went. Glad I got to see the people that I did. So I really, 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 really enjoyed myself this weekend. And we're gonna probably go into more detail about some stuff. But again, that was me. That was my week. Listen, the Black Degree Factory, they done already got on my nerves. So it is my work from home, but we already have 19 things that are lining up, and at the last minute, everything is a fire from every single side. And the event itself or the ask is not difficult, but it's the fire. It's the stuff that you put underneath of it to make it hot. Excuse me, which is what makes it annoying. So I've just had all these bells and whistles and alarms going off about these things happening, and this has to happen on this day, that day. And now I get the people that are doing last minute edits on something that we do all the time. And listen, I'm aggravated with the work side, but the Black Degree Factory is about to show out because I feel like this year is getting ready to, as most of you know, it is that time of year for homecoming, and all of our schools, HBCUs, PWIs, everything. This is around that time for homecoming because I know Duquesne, I know Pitt, I know all of them. They're going to go through all this other stuff. VSU, like all these people are doing everything. So, but the Black Degree Factory is about to show out, and I am trying to be nowhere near the Black Degree Factory when all the shenanigans go on. I think it's an amazing thing. I participated in a few things that happens during that weekend. But baby, to be there at work as an administrator, to be anywhere near the people's, it's a different feeling. So, but anyway, that was my intro about this particular just this past 7 days. How was your last 7 days? And we'll go into some. I feel like we're going to go into some other details in particular, but. Yes. How is the
past? We're going to talk about everything that is not otherwise covered by an NDA.
That part.
So when we finished the show last week, I was on vacation. So I was off Thursday, Friday, and Monday. A bitch probably should have took off Tuesday, but here we are. So I'm just getting back to Camtar, and it's the same shit, people just getting on my fucking nerves. Although our vice president in our area did send me a congratulatory notice today because my 3-year anniversary is my 3-year anniversary as an employee of Camtar. Now, I want to tell you that between my 1 year as a contractor and my 3 years as an employee, these 4 years is literally the longest time I have stayed at one job in my life, other than when I worked at Bob's Big Boy in high school.
Wow.
Because, well, I'm a victim of my own success. So, I mean, I want to be clear, I've never been fired. I've gotten laid off.
Excuse me. We are not going to be fire shamed. No, we're not. Because listen, a bitch was canned. Yes, a bitch was canned.
I've never been let go for a performance.
A bitch was canned. A bitch was canned. But again, if you ask me, it was a motherfucking setup. And I had the receipts to prove it that 5 years later, my boss called me and apologized because he understood what I was saying now. I was like, oh, bitch. But okay, I digress.
This is my story. This is my song. Praising my savior all the day long.
Go on.
But so what I was saying is that I have a series of 2.5 to 3 year engagements because that's usually how long it takes me to solve whatever mess the agency that I worked for at the time created. And then they always do the same thing. They did something incredible or didn't do whatever it was they were supposed to do. So they hire a contractor like me to come in and fix it. And then I fix it. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, we got this back under control, so we don't need you anymore. And then always within a year, they're like, hey, can you come back? I was like, girl, I've moved on now. So, but we got to make Camtar work. So we're gonna be there for a hot minute.
Listen, I get it because I had that moment when I worked at a white degree factory, and it was almost 8 years, and it was short by a month, so it was 8 years almost. So
Is that when you got fired?
No. That's when I left and took the job. No, so let's be clear where I got let go of. So we're gonna talk about this now because I'm gonna have this moment.
Baby, I just want to be clear. We're only talking about this because you brought it up.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And listen, that's what it is. But what I'm going to say is I work for this national organization and I work with this old nasty, seedy bitch. And she was training me. Our titles were, she was the assistant director and I was I was over a particular program. So she had done it before, so she was training me. So you know how you notice that you're not getting what you need and you start asking for like, hey, well, where's this? And we're going down this process of like, these are all the 15 things I need to do. Well, where are the things that I need to manage? Like, where's the information on all the stuff that's managed by this program? Like I need to make it all connect so that we can have this whole program flow. I started noticing they were missing stuff and I was like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. And I had to kind of go behind them and basically I was recreating the wheel. So then what she would do is she would then turn around and say, oh, well, I don't know why you just didn't ask me. And I was like, bitch, I sent you like 16, 17 emails. I even stopped by your office and asked you for it and you still never gave it to me. But okay, all right, fine. She would give me this look that my first mind was like, this bitch is trying me. But I had to pull it together. I had to keep it all inside. But so I said, okay, fine. I even got on the phone and talked to my mom and I was like, Mom, let me tell you about this motherfucking bitch that I work with. Her name is Sylvia. And so when I was talking to her mom, I was like, Mom's like, she's getting on my nerves. I feel like she's doing these little things, these little digs, and she's always like holding information. And then she's at the last minute trying to one-up me on stuff that she was trying to teach me or supposed to be teaching me on. And it just got a little irritated. My mom, listen, I love my mom. Listen, my mom was like, I don't know how we got on the conversation at this point, but my mom was like, well, the parking lot, if they don't have any cameras, she was like, listen, get you an ice pick. She said on the sidewalk. I was like, Mom.
Damn.
I was like, Mom.
Mary Alice was gangster.
Hey, listen, I keep trying to tell you all that I come by my shit naturally. I keep trying to explain to you all naturally, genetically somewhere. But anyway, so fast forward, we got to this point where it became a performance issue because, of course, if I'm putting together this program, I'm constantly asking for help, or I'm at the last minute, people are coming and giving me stuff, or something's missing from it. Then it became an issue with not only my boss, but the director of this nonprofit organization. So I was in that first year phase, and I think it was probably 6 or 7 months. That's where I was. And so basically they let me go. But here's the thing. I already knew I was going to get let go. I'd already talked to my director, to my boss, who was a friend of mine, who actually offered me the job. And we had this long conversation about moving from one area one area that I was into this particular area. And he was kind of on the fence about it. And I was sharing with him all the stuff that happened. And so when I left, I went and I said, listen, this has got nothing to do with this job. If I'm going to be let go, I'm going to be let go. I said, but let me tell you about your girl. So I went down the line. I started explaining to him all the things that have happened and the way things have lined up and what has gone on. He was like, yeah. He's like, I understand that. He's like, but again, at the end of this, I was like, listen, it sounds like you don't believe me, and I'm okay with that because I'm walking out of here, and you all are giving me a severance package, and I'm okay with that. So I just want you to know that these are the reasons why I'm leaving. It really isn't
I'm
my
like, I'm
performance,
leaving, and I want you to know as I'm walking out that this bitch ain't shit.
and literally that's how I felt. So it put a damper on our friendship over the years, and so I stopped speaking to them as much. And then one day, out of the blue, it was like five, maybe it was like 5 to 7 years later, he had called me and was like, hey, and it was just a weird, like a weird phone call. And I was like, we don't really talk that often because we hadn't been speaking. So I was like, well, what's up? So I was like, all right. I got on the phone. He was like, hey, he's like, he said, I just want to let you know. He said, I think I owe you an apology. And I'm sorry, he didn't say I think. He said, I owe you an apology. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? He was like, all the stuff you explained to me about Sylvia. He said, let me explain this to you. He said, so there have been two people in that same position that I was in because it was newly created when I got there. He said, exactly the same stuff that happened to you happened to both of them. And he said, it then made sense that I was not lying. Like I was telling him what was going on. And he said, when I had to go back and backtrack and talk about all the things that have happened, he said, when I wrote her ass up, I brought up your name and all the other three people's names. And I was like, okay. And I said, well, did she get fired? He said, no, she didn't get fired. He said, but I wrote her ass up. She's on a, written warning.
And how you not going to fire someone when she has been the cause of four employees. Is that a three? Yeah. That's three employees getting fired. That is crazy to me.
So, when he said that to me, I was like, okay, listen, great. I was, for me, it was the validation of like, bitch, I'm not lying. Like, now let me be clear, bitch, if I was lying, I could have spun a whole story.
Hold on, stop. Lola, you got fired? You never followed up.
Lola.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry
to hear that, baby.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
So continue your story, Epic.
So again, it kind of put us back on the path. I was asking him later on, I was like, so did you actually not really believe me? He said, well, I've worked with her for 15 years before you got there. He said, I've known you. He said, I know she does great work. And he was like, it's the work part that wasn't happening for me. And I was like, but you do realize that she was training me. You literally told her to train me. And he was like, yeah, he said it clicked when it happened. He said, when it happened after you left and we got a new person in, he said, the only reason why I didn't click at that point immediately because they went out on FMLA for some other health related issues. He said, but when the next person came in and the same exact stuff started happening around the same events, because I worked it was a national nonprofit organization that did things within college admissions and all that good stuff. So there's things that happen all the time at the same time that we're responsible for. And so he was like, maybe what he was saying was correct. And so I had sent him an email with that, and he was like, he went through the email. He said verbatim, he said, the things that you said were happening were the same exact things that happened to both of the people that were in the position before. And he said, that's when I had to do the write-up or whatever. And I was like, listen, great, good for her. Now, fast forward to probably maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I called him and we were just talking or whatever. He was like, oh, by the way, Sylvia got fired. And I was like, so was I supposed to be upset? Was I supposed to be crying? Because I don't really understand what the problem is. Good for her. Is she alive? Great. That's all I got.
Yeah.
So yes, a bitch has been canned, and it was really weird. But I will say this: it was the best 8 months of my life that I stayed home unemployed. Because baby, when I tell you I traveled more, I did more shit. I had more money in my pocket. I don't know how, why, or what, but for what I was not stressed. And then that's when I wound up going into the job that I had for 8 years, which was at the White Degree Factory.
Yeah,
that's where we are. So, but anyway, yes.
As I think about it, I am recalling that I did come to a mutual parting of the ways.
Listen, I am your barista. I will go ahead and support you. That's what he said. It was a mutual parting of the ways.
And I don't give a shit about none of these motherfuckers anymore because at this point, that shit was 20 years ago. So when I first left FAMU, I got this job at a community development corporation. And basically, she had the executive director had gone to FAMU. I was School of Architecture, she was School of Business. And she was talking about all of this shit, because basically this organization was going to be building housing and other stuff. And so what they needed, because they couldn't afford a full-time licensed architect. They needed someone who could design the housing and stuff, and then you just bring in the licensed architect to take it the last mile and get it, signed and sealed and do all of that. So great. We had talked about all this stuff and about her vision for everything. And then the clue should have been on day one. She showed me to the receptionist desk.
To do what? Do you pick up your paperwork or what? I'm confused.
To answer the fucking phones. So after I got the job, she was like, oh, that's something we're going to do down the road. And then so we started working on projects. So she was a yeller and a screamer. And, so like the first time it happened, I was like, okay, I don't know, bad day or whatever. But it kept happening. And, my face tells tales.
Baby, listen, if there's nothing else that we have in common, bitch, this face is going to tell you where the fuck I'm at. But okay. So I get it. Go ahead.
And so she's yelling at me, Brian, I don't know what the hell is going on in here. And I'm like, and I'm looking at her just like this as she is yelling at me. And you could see her face change because she was like, this nigga might kill me. And this motherfucker was on the verge. And so I left there and I told my father, because I was living with my father at the time. And no, this was this is DC. This was east of the river. Community Development Corporation. So everybody that worked there was Black. We served Black people. We were building supposedly building housing for Black people. And so that day, she lost her ever-loving mind for the nth time. And I went home and I told my father what had happened, because I had never been spoken to that way on a job. Not ever in my young professional life.
In my young, gay, queer life.
Right. And so the next day I was like, I'm quitting, Dad. And he was like, I told, my father had this thing. I've told y'all the story about Pizza Hut and how I quit the Pizza Hut job because the woman was Vietnamese and I had not worked with Vietnamese or really had a lot of experience with Vietnamese people. And I can't say that all Vietnamese people like this, but this woman certainly was. She just had a different way of relating. And now I realized that that's just how she talks. So she was never mean, but she was I just fucking hated working at Pizza Hut. So that's just that's what it was. And my father that time when I was 16 told me never quit a job without another job to go to. And I was like, Dad, I was almost in tears. And I was in tears because I was about to beat this bitch's ass. My level of upset was not because she had hurt my feelings, because I was like, if this bitch don't shut the fuck up, I swear to God, I'm going to whoop this bitch's ass and they're going to take me to jail for beating up a woman and all this other shit. Baby, I was going to mollywop her ass. And my father was like, I know what I told you, but do not do that. So when you go in tomorrow, give your resignation. But before I could say anything, so I walked in the next day. She was like, this isn't going to work. And I'd like to say that I had something smart to say, like, it sure isn't, bitch. Don't you ever fucking talk to me like that? I was like, take my coffee mug and leave. Because, baby, I was half ready to ignore my father's advice and take it to her ass, but I just let that go. So did I get fired from that job? Yes, but only because she got the words out of her mouth before I got the words I'm quitting out of my mouth.
So, well, wait a minute. In that sense, you made me think about something. Have you ever had, let me be clear. I'm bringing this up only because of the absurdity of it. But have you ever been challenged? I had a colleague, this demure Asian woman, say that I was threatening to her because I was talking loudly and I was domineering over top of her, and she felt intimidated. And I said, "Bitch, you felt intimidated by a gay man? Okay, girl, let me call HR right now." And I knew that the HR director was on fire. He was gay as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So when I strolled into that meeting on my normal time, 15 minutes late, looking fab and smelling good, and I sat across that table across from him, and I was like, "Hey, let's go ahead and have this mediation. I'm sorry, I got stuck in some stuff downstairs in the office, and this is where we are." I was so, but that bitch, talk about somebody, I really wanted to ball that bitch up. But the fact that she said, I felt intimidated. I was like, you feel intimidated by this gay man? Okay, girl. Like, and I just want to be clear. You ain't even on the menu. Sushi's not on the menu.
Right.
That's the tuna. That ain't gonna happen. But anyway, I'm okay.
No, I've never had that. Me and best friend used to work for, well, he still does. I used to work with him. In fact, I got him the job at this government agency. And they hired this woman who everything you need to know about her can be encapsulated by the fact that she used to show up drunk for meetings with the head of the agency, and she got her best friend, who was a hairdresser, hired on as a GS-14, and then at some point they got into a fight, and she threw this woman down the flight of stairs.
Now,
and
this
still
is my type
faced
of shit.
No repercussions. Now this shit happened after I left, because if the bitch that threw me down the stairs, you listen, you can cuss at me all you want, but if you throw me down the flight of stairs, baby, you would see this fat body take 3 steps at a time and slap all the shitty makeup off of your face. But what she did, so before she got there, I was empowered, like all of the other people in my colleagues were, to handle stuff, right? So if shit happens in LA or Texas or Florida or whatever, I was empowered to handle it, because my job was to keep her name and the people before her name out of the newspaper. So something happened that could have ended up with her name in the newspaper as the head of as the director of facilities. And she had taken all of our, because we were supposed to, when some shit happened, we had been previously empowered to call the Army Corps of Engineers, who would get someone on site to fix the shit. And that's why this was when everybody got a BlackBerry. So we all thought we was the shit because we all had BlackBerries. That was the sign that you was somebody.
Y'all had crackberries. Yes,
Yeah,
come on,
that was the
crackberry.
sign in the agency that you was somebody. But and the exchange for that was that, you had to be available. So somebody called me on my BlackBerry at 10 o'clock at night to tell me something had gone on. Now, Pat had her name, this woman had already gotten feisty with me a couple of times. And I had already told the boss, because I was a contractor, I'd already told the boss at the company that I worked for. And I was like, she already got spicy with me, and no one talks to me that way. And he was like, what do you mean no one talks to you that way? I said, Jim, I need you to understand me when I tell you that I do a damn good job at what I do. I am demonstrably the best person in this office. Even if I was the worst person in this office, you shouldn't talk to me that way. But given that I have the facts to back up how good I am at my job, you are certainly not going to talk to me the way that she just talked to me today. And then that night, some shit went down in LA. Now, again, I used to have a BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry, and I used to be authorized to call the Army Corps of Engineers and let the director of asset management know about it the next day. No, she wanted to be in charge. So I called her ass at like 11 o'clock. She was drunk. Hello. Who the fuck is this?
Oh.
What the fuck do you want? Why are you calling me this late at night, fucking contractor? And I was like, just
He literally said this, is saying this on the phone, like literally. Okay.
say all of this on the phone. So I'm like, so hey, we've got a situation, so you need to call the Army Corps of Engineers to let them know so they can go and get a. What the fuck? Who the fuck? Why are you calling me this night, you stupid son of a bitch? And I was like, all right, so I had to do a shenanigan. I was like, I could work
like she,
I could work. I could cuss this bitch out, but if I do, there's gonna be repercussions. Should I do it? No, girl, you shouldn't do it. Bitch, yes, you should. Left side, you shouldn't do it, girl. Right side, bitch. Cuss that bitch out and think about heaven later.
But you goddamn right.
And that, baby. And that, so she's rambling. She's going on. It was like, bitch, who the fuck you think you're talking to? You talk to everybody else in this agency any fucking way that they will let you, but you will not talk to me that way. Goodbye. But then I knew what the path was. The path was crystal clear to me. I got up at 5:30 the next morning because I lived right on the corner of P and South Capitol Street. So I just had to schlep up to Gallery Place to our office before everyone arrived with a duffel bag. I collected all of my shit, put all of my shit in the duffel bag, and I was gone before anybody got there. Because I knew, sure as shooting, that if I had been there when she had arrived, she would have tried to embarrass me and whatever and try to have me drawn out. So now what I did after I called her up, I wrote a long letter to my boss, and I was like, she started talking crazy. And, I said that I would not be talked to that way. And I am filing a formal workplace harassment complaint. He called me the next day and he said, now this woman is dead now, so I can say her name. Pat says you called her a fucking bitch. And I was like, I didn't say any such thing. Because I didn't. I said, bitch, who the fuck you think you're talking to? But that didn't reveal what I said. She called my boss at the company to say that I had said whatever. And, but what I didn't know was that I was just the latest and most senior person to file a workplace harassment complaint against her, both as contractors and employees of the agency. So, bitch, I didn't work for, I was on the bench because we were, like a big consulting firm. So I was on the bench for like 3 months and I didn't have to do shit. So then they sent me on another engagement. And that was when I had to go back and forth on the Acela up to New York and stay in a hotel. So basically, I took the train up every Sunday and came and stayed in a hotel and then took the Acela back every Friday. And then some weekends I would stay over the weekend if I needed to do something or whatever. So anyway, this guy, he's probably dead now too, but I don't know. So I'm not going to call his name. He always needed to be right. So, like, I'll give you an example. Baby, I am, and most of y'all might not even know what Microsoft Project is, but I was a whiz at Microsoft Project. And so we had to create these complex schedules to help these people move from Jersey City to Manhattan, or actually from Manhattan to Jersey City. Now, I was brought onto the project because I have a background in architecture and I knew stuff. And so I had said, first of all, I had said in a meeting that, all of these insurance agents wanted to have individual printers. And I said, this is going to destroy the heat load. So you got to do calculations about how much AC and all that. And each one of those printers is putting out heat and whatnot. So now if you've got literally 200 individual printers, going because every one of the people on this floor wanted a printer at their desk. There was not enough power, nor was there enough cooling capacity to keep the place at the right temperature. And this motherfucker said in the meeting in front of people, Brian, you don't know what you were talking about, and you should shut up. Right, wrote to my boss. And they ain't do nothing about it. Then, so I'm working on this schedule, and I did this schedule.
Wait, hold on. You didn't say nothing at the time to this man. You didn't say. I mean,
I was trying. Remember, I'd already cussed somebody out.
All right. Okay.
Even though Jim, the boss, when he said, well, she said you called her a fucking bitch. I said, Jim, I didn't say that. But he knew that I said something. But because this woman was batshit insane, he was willing to let it go. So, but I knew that, I mean, I couldn't just press my luck because happened with one white person, it's them. It happened for two white people, it's me. So I was just going to leave it alone with this guy. But then he said something else. So we was working on something else on the project. And so I was documenting every time he said something crazy to me. So like we were asked to do this thing in Microsoft Project. And I was like, I don't know how this woman did this. He was like, that's because you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, so then he called the woman who had done the template, and she had basically forced it in by like, instead of doing a calculation to get it to calculate whatever, she had just done it, which is exactly what I had told her. And then that happened to be the weekend before my birthday, which was also when the iPhone 2 came out.
Not because the iPhone 2. Okay, go ahead.
The iPhone 2. So it was my birthday, the 2. So I had taken the Acela back home and I treated myself to an iPhone 2 because I was like, girl, what is wrong? I keep getting stuck in this space with all of these psycho people or whatever. And then, so as I was getting ready to get back on the train and go up to New York, Jim called me and was like, Phil says he doesn't want you on the project anymore. And I was like, well, I don't want to work with Phil either.
Great.
But everybody knew that Phil was the problem here. So that was in March. I left that company in August. I didn't do shit. I didn't even go because it's, when you're on the bench, you remember this is well before the pandemic. I was still supposed to schlep my ass all the way out to Tyson's Corner every day to sit there and work on like proposals or do whatever. Baby, I didn't even do none of that. I didn't come to the office. I didn't do anything. And when I actually quit.
So wait a minute, you were getting paid all this time while you were sitting on the bench?
I was getting paid. I was getting a full salary.
Okay, well, listen, that's what the fuck we doing. Okay.
And so when I actually quit, I quit that job, started my job at the next agency, and went on vacation. So I had already planned this cruise, right? But they were like, we want you to start your day to at least get acclimated. So I worked there for a week, went on vacation for a week, then came back and then started the job sort of officially. And then Jim called me like a week later. He was like, hey, we got this proposal. We finally got something for you on. I was like, Jim, I sent you and Kofi and HR a resignation notice like 4 weeks ago at this point. Anyway, so yes, it was a lot. So we got some more people that showed up. Hey, Kyriakos, and hey, Desmond.
Hey.
And yes, Kyriakos, I was 16 years old, so I wasn't too fabulous for Pizza Hut then.
Listen, at 16, baby, where was I working at 16? At 16, I was working at motherfucking Kenny Shoes. Bitch, you couldn't tell me shit. Working at Kenny Shoes. And then I got an upgrade and went to motherfucking Arrowsville. Bitch.
Yes.
Bitch.
I worked at Pizza Hut for 3 months. I quit that job, wasn't working for a month, and then it was like the start of the middle of the summer or something like that. No, so I only worked there for like a month and a half. And then I started working at Bob's Big Boy, and I worked for Bob's Big Boy for 6 years because I worked for them essentially full time, even though I was in high school. So I would work like most evenings, and then on the weekends. That was, remember when Bob's Big Boy used to have the late night breakfast bar?
Child, listen, Bob's
The
Big Boy wasn't
amount of
necessarily.
shenanigans and foolishness and fuckery. But let me tell you, you could easily, because even at 16, I was a hustler.
But listen,
So
Bob's Big
baby,
Boy
let
was
me
a little
tell
too
you,
far out for me.
other waiters and waitresses would be like, I made like 75, I made like 100. And so like we count the money. I'm like 100, 200, 300, $77.48. And that was in one night. So, baby, I was making bank working at Bob's Big Boy. And when I would come home for like summer vacation, I would just call up. I'd be like, Sheila, put me on the schedule.
Yep. They were like, gladly. And you came right back. Baby, that's how I was at Arrow's video, bitch. You couldn't tell me shit when I came back home from school. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
I get
yeah.
it.
So, other than the 6 years that I worked at Bob's Big Boy, this job at Cartam has been the longest that I've been anywhere. So,
Well, congratulations. I'm glad you had a happy anniversary.
thank you.
Yeah.
So let's do a deep dive into Blackout day by day.
All
right.
So you got there on Thursday. So you
I
might,
got
because I
there
didn't get
on
there until
Thursday.
Friday.
So my Thursday started, leisurely, got up, everything. I had all of my stuff packed. And as I said in our Telegram group, I am not going to be bag shamed by Miss Epic Onyx.
Let the record state, when I saw Dominion's one suitcase that was packed, I did have questions about if he was going to have a second suitcase. And he confirmed that not only would he have a second suitcase, but that he would have other carry-on items.
I am allowed to have 2 check bags, a carry-on bag, and an underseat bag. And I was teaching a class on the art of putting stuff up your butt. Therefore, I had a whole bag of stuff just for putting stuff up your butt. And that stuff is heavy. So the one bag that you saw was all of my clothes, because my clothes were total, shut up, eccentric. Your ass was right there, girl. Wasn't you brother of the year or some shit for your chapter?
But eccentric was getting down. We'll come back there. We'll come back to that.
And then when you letting the girls have it on the dance floor during the dance party, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Anyway, so I got all of my bags. I get in my Uber. I get there. I drop them off. Baby, anywhere that there is an airport that has an Amex lounge, because they charge the girls $895 a year for that privilege. So I'm like, well, let me check my bags in and then walk from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2. It's like 5 miles from the terminal. But I got there. I had my breakfast mimosa and my breakfast Bloody Mary. And then I got on the plane. Plane ride is uneventful. Got to Midway. Everything was cute. And then so that evening, there was just like a meet and greet in the lobby. So we were just hanging out in the lobby, and that was cute. And that was that. Everyone, we had just sort of taken over the lobby. And then there was we were meeting up at this karaoke spot called Whiskey Girl Tavern. And because the rest of the Wet Pocketbooks weren't there, I had to have a substitute team, and we were going to do It's All Over from Dreamgirls as like a precursor, because Blade was there and Elimination was there and other people. So we was going to make it happen, but we ran out of time. So we left there and went to Jackhammer. And if I'm in Jackhammer, I'm going to go to the hole. So I went down to the hole. So for those who don't know, see, I hate when fags get on TV and tell all gay business. So I'm just going to say that that the hole is a darkroom spot at Jackhammer. So I went down there and I was like, let me tippy paws down there.
Community service.
It was packed.
Yeah. It's community service. That's what
And I want to be clear that I'm going to say this, but I'm not saying it as if it was a problem. It was lesbian and trans night, which is not a problem. It was, when I say it was packed, it was wall to wall, but there were very few male identified bodies there. And so while, I enjoyed watching from like a, sort of side view, they didn't know me. I didn't know them. It wasn't my scene per se. I mean, as a kinky person, it was 100% my scene. But in terms of the bodies that I generally play with, now, there were definitely some trans men there. So it's not like I have an ew vagina sort of thing, but it was definitely like they were all there as a group. And, like even when I tried to, like stand close and, be an outsider and be like, hey, how's it going? I got, not in an ugly way, but it was like, yeah, this is not the party for you. So I was like, okay, so all right. So cool. And I was like, great, this is good for them. And then so Friday was when we started having Onyx University. But bitch, I had speeches to write. I had to give a speech at the pep rally on Friday because the theme for Blackout was homecoming. And think homecoming like Beyonce's homecoming kind of thing, but also like black college homecoming. So it was that. And then I gave a speech. What did you think of my speech? And I'm not asking you to like blow smoke up my ass, but I am interested to hear what other people thought of the speech.
So let me tell you what I thought about the speech. I thought that you did an excellent job at rallying the troops and motivating the troops. And it almost felt like it was, I don't want to say a church sermon, but it was definitely like the Mission College football team speech, but it didn't take 9 hours. But he got riled up, and it was like, I said, this bitch is on a roll. I said, okay, bitch. I said, I see you. I was in the corner like.
So what if you all, some of you might know who Dr. Frederick S. Humphreys was. Fred Humphreys, Hump, as we called him, was president of Florida A&M University. And when I went to FAMU, he had been the president. He was probably, I feel like, one of the longest serving presidents of FAMU. And that motherfucker, whenever we would have a football game, you don't expect the president to be like, students, I'm so grateful for all of Fred Humphreys. Dr. Humphreys would get the girls riled up. So I was definitely channeling Dr. Humphreys when I was giving that speech. So it was, we're a historically Black college. So it was part pep rally. It was part church sermon. It was part rah-rah. So that was what I was trying to get at girls.
Yeah, it was good because I was like, this bitch is, and it was what was so funny was as you were doing it, I was like, this bitch gonna lose her voice. I was like, I see it. It's gonna happen. Like it's on its way. Like,
and you can hear it now. My voice is still giving me guff.
I was like, he gonna lose this voice. I said, okay, all right, okay.
And then so when you arrived, like around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah. So my flight got in at 2, and then by the time I got to the hotel, it was like close to 4 or whatever. And by the time I got checked in, and the hotel. So let's talk about the hotel. I thought the hotel was okay. It was cool. I don't have any.
Out of 5 stars, I'm going to give it a strong 3.2.
I was just going to say 3, but okay, it's the 0.2 that sometimes people need. But okay, and right, eccentric. It definitely it worked as far as the hotel is concerned. If that's what you're talking about my speech. Oh, okay. Well, the hotel actually worked as well as far as I'm.
Yes, and the hotel did what it was supposed to do. Yeah. And I guess it was giving what it was supposed to give, because no one ever claimed that the hotel was supposed to be fancy. No one ever positioned it like we're staying at a 5-star resort. So I mean, it did what it was supposed to give. It was very sort of I thought the rooms, like the decor in the
Tiny.
rooms,
They were
were
so tiny.
very dated.
They were. I don't even know about the dated part. I just felt like they were so tiny. Like that's what it was for me. And they had everything that you needed in there, but it was all right. It was okay. Like, I mean, but I had like, I noticed the on the walls, like the furniture must have scraped the walls, and there was like damage to the walls and stuff like that, like little stuff like that. But
Now
again,
I had a larger room because I had a studio suite. So I had a sofa bed with a little desk and a dresser that had a refrigerator in it, then like a half wall and a bed.
well, so I just had the regular room, and it was just the room of bed with the dresser situation at the front with the TV on it, and the bathroom and a chair and a desk on the side. Like I didn't have a sofa. But it was, listen, it was perfectly fine for what it was.
Right. And that's why I gave it a
Yeah,
3.2. So,
it was
it was
perfectly fine.
average. It was fine.
It was
It
fine.
was not 4-star, definitely wasn't 5-star. So
No,
it's somewhere between 3 and 4.
I loved the room where we did the opening ceremonies with the dance floor and everything else, and the ceiling,
So the
the
dance
architecture.
floor in the main ballroom
Mm-hmm.
lit up from underneath, and you could change the color of
Yeah,
it. So it was that I really like that.
that was nice, and I enjoyed. I was looking at the ceiling and like all the architecture. But at one point, I was looking at the balconies, and I was like, these
Baby,
balconies
the
look like they
balcony
about to
they was about to
fall.
fall off of the wall.
They look like they was about to fall, and I was like, let me stay on the side over here. But but yes, it was adequate. It was fine, and
Mhm.
for what we had going on, it was enough space for people to do whatever they were going to do, and I was definitely okay with it.
Yeah. And then what did we do after that? Did
Oh,
we
but wait a minute. So I gotta let's back up. Let's back up because I'm gonna go ahead and add a little. We didn't talk about this, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk
Mhm.
about this. So I had gotten a phone call. I don't on social media is the devil because you kind of see people all the time, and then somebody that you may not be speaking to or haven't spoken to in a while, and you oh, it's their birthday. You're like, okay, happy birthday. And I did that. Let me, before I go any further, you know exactly who I'm talking about, and we are not going to mention any names at all because the last time we mentioned names about this in New Orleans, it became a whole thing. So we're not going to say any names.
Escándalo!
Thank you so much.
I will not.
So I had mentioned, I said, hey, happy birthday or whatever on somewhere. Like it was like 0 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And a couple of days later, I then get a phone call out of the blue, and it was like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey."
Right.
So as we started talking, it
Like,
was
can
like,
I help you?
"Yeah," like I was. That's what them. I was like, "Yeah," like what? Um, and so we just started chit chatting. They were like, "Oh," it was this whole banter back and forth of like jockeying for position of who was right, who. I was like, "Sir, let me just stop you right here." All I said was happy birthday. It's not a big deal. You either accept it or you don't. I listen, you asked me whether I was going to be there in the city. I told you I am. That's what I'm doing. If you're coming, I'll see you. That's it. No problem. Then they said, hey, well, maybe we can go have coffee or whatever. And I was like, go have coffee. Like, okay, sure. No problem. Then they were like, well, as a matter of fact, I'll pick you up from the hotel. I mean, I'll pick you up from the airport. And I was like, pick me up from the airport? Okay. So I said, I'm gonna go ahead and play along. But when they started asking me for my itinerary, I was like, see, bitch, I don't trust you. Cause see, you'll be doing some dumb shit like trying to call the airline and cancel my flight or whatever. I was like, nope, my flight comes in at this time, meet me at this exit. That's
Right.
it. But I was already prepared to catch bird, back to the hotel. But they showed up, they were pleasant. We had a very lovely conversation. They even stopped off and helped me to go ahead and, at the little dispensary, get a couple things. And we did have coffee and we chit chatted or whatever. And it was very nice. But 5 minutes into the ride, their cell phone rings. So the nosy bitch that I am, of course, I'm sitting there. I looked over. I saw the name. I was like, oh, so we're still doing this? Okay. I said, okay. And then I listened to the
You have to
conversation.
give me more detail when we're off of the air.
Wait, because then they were like this. They were like, yeah, well, I had to pick a friend up at the airport.
A friend.
I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Listen,
oh baby, you got what I need, but
listen,
you say he's just a friend.
Dropped me off, and I was good. And then I did get a text message like 12 o'clock that night. Hey, I'm in this side of town. Like, you wanna just like get together and we can. No, I'm sorry. Before I got out the car, they were like, well, maybe we can go do naked cuddles. What? Mm-mm. No, I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm gonna be a little busy, but then, like I said, 12 o'clock that night, then I get the phone call. Hey, I'm downtown. Maybe we can hook up and hang out or whatever. I know there's gonna be a lot of brothers around and people are gonna be doing stuff, and we can kind of chill out with all them. Mm-mm.
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 I'm trying to remember what we did on Friday night, but keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, but then which I'll save that part for later on. I'll save that part for off the air because I wound up running into some of their fam, and it was interesting because it's always this jockeying for position because the one person that we jockeyed, that it was a not even a jockey for position, but a conversation that they ran back and did exactly what the fuck I knew they was going to do. I'm expecting that this one is going to do the same exact thing, but whatever, no big deal. But anyway, that was my Friday night. I was good. I secured the bag. I got my room. I had spent my little money and then the little deposit. The deposit thing wasn't that bad. It wasn't, that was cool. I mean, I expected that. That was cool. But listen, all I needed was all of my accoutrements so that I can go ahead and be happy the whole weekend, and I was good. So that was my Friday night for me. Like, I was good after we did the homecoming, change of clothes, which I really, really, really enjoyed.
What did we do Saturday? What did we do Friday night? So I feel like we left the hotel and
Friday night, everybody went out. We went out Friday night. Remember, people went out to the club Friday night.
Where did we go?
People were either going. The buses were there.
Oh, that's when we went to.
It was either Boys Town or yeah, Boys Town or Club Escape. Yes.
Yes, so we went to Club Escape, which was on, I don't know if that's the south, I don't know what side of town it was, but that was the black gay club. And baby, we was driving and driving and driving and driving and driving on that bus. And we got there, and the first thing was that they made my sub, the bitch, take off his collar, because this shit got a big ass lock, and this is a black club, so I guess they was afraid he was gonna haul off and hit somebody with it. So anyway, so they did that, and we were there, and at first we was like the only motherfuckers in the spot, like the 15 or like the 30 of us that had ridden on the bus to Club Escape. But then like more buses came, and eventually we took over that whole fucking club, and it was cute. We had a really good time. We were chit-chatting, and it was just sort of a really sort of chill, sort of relaxed sort of event and everything. And the girls were hitting on the bitch. Now, none of the Onyx brothers were, because I, had put my stank on him. But which is actually what he wanted, because, he's sort of, so the bitch is his Sasha Fierce. He told me that today. So that allows him to regulate all of the attention. But it was the locals that showed up at the bar that was trying to have. And I am, wait a minute, Eccentric, what you mean the bartenders were slow as fuck? You wasn't even there.
He's talking about at the club.
I know, but earlier he said, "What are you talking about?" He didn't go.
Oh, right. That's right.
So exactly. But yes, the bartenders were slow as hell, and them drinks was weak as fuck. He actually had the bartender, and at this black gay club, actually had a meter on the pour. And so I was
doesn't sound like a good place for me to go, because I don't all the bars that I know that, like, if you can't give me a meal drink, bitch, I don't.
Honey, people were buying me drinks, so I didn't really pay. I noticed because I was there the first time, but it was still cute. We had a good time. The music was, whatever. And so it was cute. And then we came back and everybody was sitting in the lobby and we was eating food and blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Wick drinks in a gay club. It was a full mess.
Right.
And then Saturday, I gave my class. So that day started. I walked into the room and they were doing naked yoga. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's not a judge. I mean, I was just like, oh, this is nice. Dicks. This is a good omen. Yes. And yeah, Kyriakos, every drink that I had, exactly the
Right,
meter
because you weren't there.
or not, or so I've heard, because I was not there.
Right.
But yes,
It wasn't
the
you.
drinks were weak generally everywhere that we went in Chicago that weekend, except at the hotel bar, because that hotel bartender was pouring. Well, I had I had martinis. I had like
Bar
a
downstairs.
key lime, the half round bar.
Yeah, I was down there, but I didn't even get a drink down there. I think
I had
Maximus
lots
and
of
I
drinks
had
downstairs, and all of those martinis that I had were quite strong.
Yeah, Maximus and I we had went and I think he gave me some Jack Daniels, and I was sipping on that or whatever. But I didn't drink that much this weekend.
Right.
Actually, that was the only drink I had, that Jack Daniels.
And then they do love a heavy pour because they keep you pouring it, because that's how they make their money off of that. And
Hell yeah,
give them higher ratings, and you come back to stay because you remember the bartender that gave you a heavy pour.
Hell yeah, and you want to tip them well.
Exactly. So Saturday, I had my class, the art of putting stuff up your butt, which was very good. Oh, and I gotta send you a link so you can upload the videos that you took.
They're in the Google Drive, so I can share them or whatever.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So Epic was my camera person, and the bitch was my demo bottom. But I really appreciated, and I thanked him profusely that he was able to speak to like the bottom's perspective, a lot of this, and a lot of the questions were directed to him, which didn't offend me in the slightest, because if it's part of putting stuff up your butt, you need to talk to the person that has stuff put up their butt.
Up their butt, right?
So he really gave good thing, and I think it was a good
and
energy for him.
Might I say he was very instructional. Like it's kind of hard to be. Well, in theory, it seems like it would be kind of hard to be, very instructional or data driven or education driven while you're standing there butt naked with a chastity, with a cage on or whatever. But he was answering the questions, and it was like, oh, man, like he was very engaged in what was going on. And he answered the questions. And I just felt I had a really good energy from him. It wasn't like, oh my God, okay. It was in my butt, and that was it. And no, he was like, no, this is the feeling. He was giving
intelligently in a way that other people could absorb the information.
Very.
And I also want to thank Aztec Daddy for giving me a packet of the Faustin, which was the lube that I used, and that she will be my lube of choice. And I'm going to experiment with it to see if I can make my favorite
your multi-purpose
mixture. Lube. And I don't know if I even need it. We'll see. I'll play around with it. Okay. There were some other good classes. We had a luncheon. Also, so since this was our 30th anniversary, the 5 founders were there.
And blew my mind that all 5 of them were there. Number one.
It blew my mind. And a couple of them, hold on, I shouldn't really be touching the brim of this.
We're gonna come back to that. But go ahead.
The drill dough did come out. The drill dough came out and went all the way in, as did the fuck saw.
Yeah,
so
they both came out.
There was a lot going on, but so I will say that several of our founders that we don't know, a couple of our founders that we don't normally see, were quite attractive.
Baby, all that listen on the stage all the way over to the left, baby. I said, hey.
Wow, that's my man. That is my man. That is my man.
Listen, we were having conversations. So, I mean, in my mind, we were already having conversations.
Maybe
so
I got his number and a commitment to come to MAL.
I mean, I'm sitting in his living room right now. What are you talking about?
I don't know how you sitting in your living room when he's sitting on the chair on this off screen. So
I mean,
That is my man. That is my man. Wes is my man.
The fuck?
I'm sorry, that's Nate. Excuse me. Nate is my man.
Whatever. That's not what I call him. I call him Boo.
And David, baby, don't you let David catch you in the corner because David will bend you over.
Oh,
David is the tall, light skinned one.
Mm-hmm. The tall, light skinned one. I said there was a lot going on in the.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, yeah. I was like, I looked over and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Why is there a bulge in his face? What the fuck is this?" I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Hey,
how you doing?" And so, yes, so it was good to see them together. And something happened at that event that we're going to come back to. So we're going.
Well, yes, we definitely need to come. Well, we can come. We coming through the day, so we can come
right,
back.
Something happened there. We'll come back to that. So there were more classes, but baby, I was back in my room because I had another speech to give that night. And then sometime during that afternoon, I get a call. They were like, "So who's the MC for this thing?" And I'm like, "Y'all are the host chapter, girl. Why are you asking me?"
You knew what it was. You knew exactly what it was.
And then so I was like, "All right, girl, because I like you. And
this is why we're the fuck here now where we at, bitch. That's why we in these motherfucking offices board now, bitch. What?
Right. The only reason you called me and asked this question is because you knew what I was gonna say. All right, girl. All right, so here we are. So then we get up and we have the opening little preamble, we have the prayer and everything. And I forget what was supposed to happen. Oh, I was supposed to go, according to the schedule, I was supposed to go right into my AGM speech. And then Vote comes up on stage, and I was like, here we go.
But wait. So what irritated me, in the best possible way from a Bristol was, bitch, you could have told me this a motherfucking day before or 2 days before, bitch. I could have really put some shit together. Like, you really, listen, but I pulled it together, but I was still kind of like, okay, all right, okay, I will. I'll come out. I'll listen. I had a cup of coffee before I came downstairs, but okay, all right, here we go.
And Kyriakos, that hasn't been decided because we haven't put out a call for proposals yet. That will likely come out next month at the last Onyx National Council meeting for the year, and then proposals will be due at the April meeting, so at the second quarter meeting, and then we'll make a decision on who will host the next Blackout then.
And guess who was like, "Oh, we could do this."
Exactly, Kyriakos. Your girls was, feels like there's a strong bid from Lone Star. I'm not here to call it, but that's what the girls were saying. Everybody seemed very excited about it. So,
do they or did? But okay, I'm sorry.
A couple of people seemed excited about it, so we'll put it like that. And then, so all right, so Vote Star, and so I'm like. But I knew the fix was in, and here's why. When we were at the Founders Day, or when we were at the fireside chat with the 5 founders, I'm Vote sitting here, I'm sitting where I am, and then there was an empty spot. Or no, the bitch was sitting next to me, and then there was an empty spot for Epic. Now, you hear the kind of conversation we're talking about putting stuff up people's butts. We all know each other's business. So there has never been another occasion before where if Vote had to say something to Epic, that he didn't just yell it across me to Epic, but instead he got up and was like, "Epic, come over here." And here they are in the corner talking all conspiratorially. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck are these? What could they possibly be talking about that they couldn't say in front of me? And I was like, oh.
And to be clear, Shinzi was going in. I was dying. But go ahead.
And so I was like, but here's why. Because when Volt got covered at LLC in, I guess that was 2024, he said to me, you're next. So I have spent the last year and a half waiting for this motherfucker to spring this shit on me at one point or another. I was actually glad because I thought it might have been happening at LLC this year. But that would have been a terrible thing because my sister died that Friday and I would have had to leave before it happened. But I realized that Volt wasn't coming because I knew for a fact that Volt was not in town that day. So, but and then when y'all sit back down, your loud ass, I'm talking about you on the camera, was like, yes, big tears, big crocodile tears. I was like, oh, so they try to break a girl down. They try to break a bitch down.
That's what he asked for. He asked for certain things. I said, okay, well, cool.
I was like, oh, so they're gonna try to do some shit, and then I did not know it was gonna be the covering. I thought maybe I was gonna get some award or something. And I was like, oh, so they're gonna try to break a bitch down. They're going to try.
But to be clear, I did edit because I was going to say something about Kendra, but I was like, that's
hitting below the belt, bitch.
Yeah, I was like, let me not. I was like, because I literally was getting ready to talk about the day when I got the phone call, but I was like, nope, I'm not getting ready to do that because I don't want to go back down that road. That's literally what I found myself pulling back.
And by below the belt, I wouldn't have been mad, but it would have certainly made it might have because by that time I was my well was running dry.
And I
was tired of shit.
Yeah, and I knew that it would have incited an emotion, but I was like, I'm not doing that to incite an emotion. I just wanted to share what it was I was talking about. But that's why I pulled back because I was like, and plus I was like, that's a little ain't talking about
that. I don't know all these. I mean, they're all of my brothers, but all of y'all don't.
We're not doing that.
Y'all all don't get.
You ain't in the inner circle, so I get
Dominion, and so it might have So anyway, so I was like, okay, so now the fix is in, and then I was like, oh shit, they're gonna do this fucking covering because also I had spent. Volt has heard me say on many occasions that I don't like hats as a rule, and I was not interested in being covered. What I didn't say is why. From the time I started in this community in 2000, I saw a lot of motherfuckers with these hats on doing crazy shit. Doing or saying crazy shit. So it'll be like, Sir so-and-so or Master so-and-so said something crazy about trans people, or Mistress so-and-so don't like black people or something crazy. So I saw a lot of people with these hats on and a lot of people that belong to these, well-known families and things say and do crazy shit. And so I wasn't interested in being a part or associated with that. That's why up until Saturday, if someone like Aries Man always calls or used to call me Sir Dominion, and I was like, it's just Dominion because I'm not interested in being part of that infrastructure at all. But I'm wearing the cap now because first of all, you can be who you want to be. So I'm not going to change suddenly because I have it. I ain't said nothing crazy-ish up until now and don't intend to say anything crazy. And also, a cover is an honor for the work that you've done. So because you and Epic and Shinzi and Mufasa and Steve and the bitch and Chris and Daddy Rod covered me, my chosen family, it is an honor. So I will wear that and attempt to continue to live up to all of the reasons that you chose to cover me. And you can see more in, soon in Dominion's Opinions and also on a podcast that I'm going to be doing, a bunch of other shit. So yeah. So up until Saturday, so I actually have a cover that a former founder of this chapter gave to me. And, since I don't respect him anymore and never really liked the cover, I gave that shit away. Now, I wasn't covered by it. We were young and just starting the chapter, but he was like, you should wear this cover or whatever. And at the time, I didn't like hats. And so I didn't wear it. And then at some point, like maybe 6 months ago, I gave that shit to Goodwill. So now this is never.
Well, first of all, it looks good on you, number one. And for somebody that doesn't like to wear hats, this looks amazing on you. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that.
I appreciate it.
It does. So bitch will always. I didn't get. Listen, now a bitch is must like you halfway, because bitch, I went downstairs to buy that motherfucking vest and I had to sit back and say, bitch, it looks better on here. Bitch, go on, take that motherfucking vest, bitch. But I will say that yes, it does look good on you.
Hence why my screen name today, and probably today only, is Master Dominion. Because yes, that is who I am in this community, and I will learn to get comfortable leaning into it. But I never want to be one of those girls who always leads with that. What I wanted to do was to be respected for being Dominion.
But you are Blanche.
I didn't want people to respect me because I had a cover on. Like, there are some people in this community that find out, oh, you're Dominion. They're like, sure, whatever. Oh, he's Master Dominion, so he must be somebody. It's like, no, bitch, I'm somebody because of the shit that I've done in the community. I'm also a little bit of a rebel like that because, I don't like to do the shit that everybody else like to do. Like, it took me 9 months to go see Titanic. I didn't want to see it because everybody else was seeing it. So I don't always like to do things just because everyone else is doing it. I'm a bit of a contrarian there. But I am grateful and thank you to everyone who has expressed delight and, said it should have been done a long time ago. And, to my chosen family who did it. So thank you.
So listen, Mr. Contrarian, all I'm telling you is, bitch, we will be going to see Wicked on the day it comes out. I just want you to know that, because
move past that. I mean, remember we went to see the last Wicked, so we've got to, of course, see this one.
I just want to make sure. I don't want to hear no shit about let's wait. No, bitch, we go on the day it opens.
Well, wait a minute. What day does it open?
I don't fucking know. I think it's Thanksgiving.
Because if it's Thanksgiving, I'm gonna be in Alabama.
I don't know. We'll talk about that.
We'll find some time to go see it. So anyway, so that is that. And then I gave my AGM speech, and then we gave out a shit ton of awards.
Yes, and I'm so proud. And listen, thank you for having me on that stage because one of the brothers of the year, we knew it. He knew it as well. Was my good Bristol Maximus. And when I tell you, I am more than fucking excited and happy for him because he's wanted to be a part of this organization for quite some time and make a mark. And I feel like he feels now he has made his mark. And it was like, bitch, I keep telling you, like, just fucking live in the moment. And,
right.
But he was good. And I'm glad that he got it. I'm so happy. Now, who picked out the awards this year? Like the way they were, that was all Midwest, right?
It certainly was not me.
Okay. That was my only question, because I was like, oh, okay, well, they look different, but okay, cool.
But they look similar to the awards that they're usually like clear acrylic or clear glass with like frosted lettering on it. When I say certainly not me, meaning I was doing my best to stay out of grown folk business and only do the things that I was being asked to do. Because the lessons that we learned from past Blackout and past interactions is that you have to give the girls the opportunity to make it what they want to be.
Right.
And so I didn't get involved in any of those decisions. We gave them the outline of the program, but they came up with the program. They came up with all of everything that was Blackout, for good, bad, or indifferent. And I don't really have anything to say. I mean, I certainly have opinions about some things that I would do different. I mean, I've always got opinions about everything that I would do different. But you know what? I'm glad that I did not have to do it or be the one to be in charge of it. And
Well,
since I was not, I was happy with everything that went down. I loved the pep rally. I that moving the hotel ended up being a godsend in a lot of ways because it allowed them to consolidate a lot of things. And that grand ballroom where we had a lot of the signature events was the perfect setting for the dance and the pep rally, and it was just a great place. And the bar was nice right there and everything. So, you know, the hotel, well, the elevator's slow, but when haven't we been to a leather events when the fucking elevators are slow? Was the rooms, you know, not 5-star? But girl, here's
listen,
the thing: the kids was already complaining, and this is not a swipe at Kyriakos or anything, even though he said something about it. But the girls was already complaining about the cost of the rooms. Imagine if we actually had to pay what a 5-star newly renovated hotel. Girl, the rooms didn't have bed bugs. So that
they
was
did not. But those rooms are pretty much the same cost of what they are at MAL. So what's the difference? I don't understand. I don't understand what the issue is.
yes.
But okay, all right, whatever.
So, and to answer Kyriako's standard, you know, so that is one of the things, you know, so there's the ONC board, which is me, Volt, Suede, and Daddy Rod, are concerned about standardizing things. And there will be some things that we're standardizing, but we want to give each chapter the opportunity to put their own flavor on it. So for things like what the awards look like, they're not necessarily standards for it. But you know, we're open to feedback like that. And one thing I will announce here is that just like we had that Telegram group for Blackout, we will eventually be having at least one We Are Onyx group. So I want to have like a We Are Onyx group that is, again, for just like the Facebook group, only for people who are associated with Onyx. Either, girl, your comment is on the screen and I'm about to highlight it. So anyway, so as I was saying,
well, hold on. We had 2 minutes. I just want you to.
I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
What I was saying is that we will have a We Are Onyx Telegram group that is only for brothers, sisters, and siblings of the Onyx family. And I also want to have like an Onyx social network for friends of Onyx. So like people that we know that can come and ask questions or be involved. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like because that might be harder to manage, but definitely a We Are Onyx Telegram group, because the energy in that group I think was amazing. And not just in the, you know, the after hours sort of sexy times groups. I thought there was a lot of, hey, we're down here in the lobby. Who wants to go grab dinner? Or, you know, we're going to the airport, and people being like, hey, I'm already going to get an Uber. You know, if you're leaving around the same time, let's split an Uber. So that sort of us together kind of thing I thought was great.
With Daddy Rod now when we left. We literally, but that's one other conversation. But listen, shout out to, I have a flag daddy now, Roger, because bitch, I was over in the corner flagging, bitch was amazing.
I saw that. Y'all did a great. Oh, did we talk about we got to talk about two things. We got to talk about, did you go to the Leather Archives and Museum?
I did not make it to the Leather Archives and Museum. I did not make it.
We did that, and that was fun. Not a whole lot to say to that other than if you are ever in Chicago and even tertiarily involved, well, not in the leather community, if you are a gay or person or a member of the LGBTQI, you should go, because the history that is documented in the Leather Archives is not just specifically about the leather community. It's about the larger gay communities and the spaces that we have now, the spaces that we have lost, the art, the history, the literature, all of that about the community. So go and check that out.
Yeah.
But then
The play party.
the play party. Now, again, there are NDAs and things that we can't talk about, but what I will talk about was my harmonica gag.
Well, let me set the scene. There
Mhm.
was a difference between people that wanted to come and play versus
Mhm.
people that wanted to come and smut. That's what I will say.
Which there always is. And, you know, I think there are some people that didn't leave that room and smutted the whole time. And listen, I was having a good time. I smutted later. Um, I
Yeah, I smutted. Yeah, I smutted there and also later. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a shenanigan.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
oh I definitely shenaned again. So
yeah.
when I was shenaning, I spanked and flogged a couple of people, and then our brother Avatar, I strung him up. They had a
I saw
beam
that.
that
I saw
had
that.
carabiners hanging down, so I strung him up, and then I had him put in the harmonica gag, and he had to breathe through that harmonica gag. So every time he breathed out, it was playing the harmonica, and I was going in on him. And the room was getting really quiet, and everybody was. I could hear people like, "Is somebody playing a fucking harmonica in here?" And that was turning me on because it was silent. And the more I was, because I was using this cute little whip that I had gotten, and I was wearing him out, and I was wearing him out in places that you don't expect, because everybody expects, a little whip on the back and on the buttocks, but baby, I was wearing them thighs out, and the inner thighs, and his abdomen, and his nipples, because baby, I could aim that little thing. So
Speaking of that, at some point, one of our brothers was into the gut punching. I was
mhm.
like, no. They were like, oh my god. I
Unless
was
you want
like,
me to vomit on you.
I said no. Then it was the thing of like, oh, but you should have slapped. I said no. But okay.
Eccentric, I'm glad you enjoyed a dungeon. I mean, I've enjoyed it before, but I think it was the fact that it was all well, it wasn't all. And it wasn't even that it was all people of color per se.
Man, it was
It
a whole
was
mixture. It was a mixture.
it
It was a
was
mix.
that it was all the family.
That's what it was. Yes.
Black,
And
white,
listen,
male, female, trans, cis. It was all part of the family, and we were all there. And there is a level of comfort
yeah.
that comes with that.
But listen, I'm gonna go ahead and shout out my Brista. I don't know if he's in this room or not. Brista, next time we go to a dungeon party, bitch, pick a side of the room and go over there and stay over there. Leave me alone. We can talk afterwards. We ain't got to talk. I do not want to talk. Let me go on the other side of
This
the
is
room.
why you and I get along well at a sex club or a dungeon space, because we'll be like, okay, bitch, it is
Synchronized
12:30.
swatches.
We're going to meet back here at 2
at
o'clock.
this time. Yep.
And if we see each other in passing, it'll be like we barely know each other. Because girl, we'll decompress later at the Waffle House.
Brista did not get that, and I was like, "Come on, you know this. We done been down this road before, like bitch." But I was like, I had to pull together because I was getting a little angry, and I was like, "But you know, I'm always searching. I'm searching, and you know, it takes me a long time." Thank you, Accenture, for reminding me about Lewis. He calls me in the elevator, but bitch, I was searching, trying to make sure I was. Listen, takes me a minute, but baby, when I lock in on the target, baby, bam, this is what we doing.
I saw you in the back locking in after I had like spanked a bunch of people. So I was like, let me see what's going on back here. But by that time, the party was wrapping up. And we left there and went to Touche. And, a lovely older gentleman came and started chatting me up and made it clear that he would do anything to receive whatever fluids I had to offer him. And
did you do your community service work?
It wasn't community, this wasn't charity work, but yes, he received.
Well, you're doing work in the community.
Yes, I did my community service, and he received my fluids, and I was lucky because before we went to the play party, I had already packed up, so I was ready to go, and so because my flight was at 6:10 in the morning, so by the time we got back to the hotel, It was like 2:45. I threw the last of my toiletries in my bag. I said, I'm not even going to sleep because I didn't trust myself. I set like 4 alarms. But I ended up only getting to rest for like 40 minutes. And then it was like 3:45. And by the time I got to the airport, got through security, they had a little lounge there. I sat in the lounge for like an hour, got on the flight, got home, and proceeded to. So basically, I was up most of the weekend. And then, of course, when my ass should have been asleep on Monday, I was up most of the fucking day. I didn't even like take a nap until like 3 o'clock. But that's how I am.
Baby,
When I'm really super tired like that, like if I'm just regular tired, I could have gone straight to bed. But if I'm up for multiple days, I have this weird combination of tired and nervous energy. So
all I can say is I thought the flow of everything was good. I like that it ended on a play party.
mhm.
I like that everything was compact enough, but it was so much to do. You did feel like you were running around and rushing, but there was a lot of empty time. When I say empty time, meaning nothing was scheduled, and I was able to hang out with folks. So many new faces, and I guess at this particular point, I feel like I'm old in the organization somewhat,
Mhm.
but it's so many new faces. And I was just like, I see all y'all on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, it's nice to put the face to a name. And like, Jesus, night, K9's twin brother and his fiance, like just having conversations with them, all
Right.
online, and everything else, and just meeting other people online, like Euphonious, and getting to see all the other people. And like, listen, I was excited. I enjoyed myself. It was a great time. It was overcrowded or overshadowed by a few deaths that happened right before, during, and also after,
Yeah.
as far as the
And
organization.
as you give that last piece, I want to say shout out to Kyrie Onyx, who designed these t-shirts. If you went to Blackout and are part of the group, the Telegram group, go to the Telegram group and look for Kyrie Onyx, and he has a message. I'll say what it is. It's called Artistic Wizardry Customs.printify.me, or you can reach out to Kyrie Onyx on Facebook if you want this t-shirt or any of the other t-shirts that he had at Blackout. Because there was a couple of one. He had a Blackout shirt like this that had like 3 black men on it that I really liked, but he was out of the sizes by the time. Because I was tired because I procrastinated and waited to right before I gave those speeches to finish writing them. So that Friday speech, I had to give it at 7:30. That bitch was finished at 6:30. And the same thing for the speech at the AGM. I finished that girl like 6:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that, but it was cool. It was a good energy. It was a good, fun energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it
but you
definitely
were
was.
saying there were some deaths that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we lost some brothers. We lost one of our brothers lost his husband, and he was also an associate, Juby. We also lost. I found out when we got back that we lost another brother, DMark, and we also lost. I'm forgetting someone that we lost. Somebody else passed, and I can't remember. But those are the two that I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
We had
Judy, who was also Griot Onyx, was the first uh associate of Onyx Deep South. When he was like a charter associate, so he was sort of an associate of the group before they became a chapter, and then once they crossed, he became their first charter. I mean, their first associate. And he was a great man. He was a poet.
absolutely.
He wrote several volumes of poetry, and he was just really fun to hang around. He was a
Absolutely.
quiet sort of person, but that doesn't mean he didn't have strong opinions and couldn't hold a conversation. So he was a really great man. And so, my deepest sympathies and condolences to his husband, Power Onyx.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm missing someone. It's someone else that I cannot remember. I'm having a brain fart. But those are the two that I wrote down. I feel like there was someone else that we missed. I know we had the wall of remembrance, not the wall, but the table of remembrance of people that we lost and the brothers that we lost. over the years. And so we were all supposed to bring something and put something on the table. But for me, that was the one thing that I couldn't do. I didn't want to walk over to that table because I know we had lost Joey, we had lost just a whole bunch of loss, and it seemed like it was just happening all at the same time.
That definitely, if there was a shitty part of the weekend, it was that I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but then at some point, it was like, Joey isn't here, Legionnaire isn't here. Because the entire time that I've been a part of Onyx, there was, even if Joe and I didn't see each other, but once a year, we would see each other, well, twice a year, or we would see each other at MAL and definitely at a Blackout. I don't think he ever missed a Blackout. And, you know, we would always find some time to hang out and be sociable, and just for him to be there. So his loss, he was really the person before he died who was the main sort of, I think, main organizer of Blackout. And so there was a lot going on. And Love Jones, Derek Love Jones. Yes. Thank you, Eccentric.
So that happened right before we left. So that just threw me all the way off as well. So it was one of those weekends that was just like, what? But it was, and his best friend Deuce was there as well. So that was, and I was just like, oh crap. But it was, listen, it was nothing but love. And I enjoy these events because, again, it is the family time. You get to show love. And, you know, we have brothers that are into filming and things of that sort, and producers, all that. But I think that even going through a story or having a conversation about archiving the organization from a Blackout perspective might be something that would be interesting to see, because there's always a lot of stories that go along with each person's journey. I think that would be interesting to actually watch.
Yes. We are over time, but do you have anything to talk about?
I don't have any. So I don't have any stories, because we know we had a whole bunch of stories that we were going to talk about from the weekend. What I did want to point out was that tonight, Misty Copeland did her grand finale performance. She took the stage tonight for her final performance with the American Ballet Theater, and there is this photo shoot that Ebony did for her. So if you have the chance to take a look at it, of her career and how she became the prima ballerina with the American Ballet Theater, and just her impact on the world of ballet was amazing. And like I said, tonight was her final. She steps down as the principal dancer. And so tonight was her final performance. I just want to recognize that and thank her for the beautiful artistry that she's brought into this world as far as a creative dance force. So I definitely want to recognize that, and I just want to highlight that for everyone as well. Let's see. Was there anything else that you had that you wanted to talk about? Because I didn't have any other slates. And listen, I have a whole bunch of stuff here that we could talk about, but we're already a little bit over time, so I'm not gonna go into some of that stuff. But it was really lots of new faces, lots of old faces, but more so new faces than anything else. And so I'm really excited. And it's weird because now you have this, you feel like you're stepping into a different role. At least I am. It's like I'm no longer like the guy. I'm like the older guy. I'm the uncle. I'm the, that sort of thing, which is totally fine. Let me be clear. But I'm excited to watch the new energy that's coming in and the things that they're doing. So I'm really enjoying that. And yeah, I enjoyed that. New friends, shout out to Florida, like Warren and all those people, like just new people. I'm happy about that. So I had a great time. And like I said, everything lined up for me and it was great. And I'm glad. And I'm also glad that I want to just take this time to publicly, so glad that I was able to be there for that reason and that reason alone, to make sure that I participated in this covering ceremony for my birthday. So I appreciate being there, and I'm glad that I was there. And so that's a memory that I have. And so I just want to say congratulations again, and I'm very excited for you.
Thanks. All right, we are super over time, so I am going to say this has been fun. We will be back to business as usual next week, and thank y'all for coming out. God bless you.
and
And
good
good night.
night. Bye.